poem is to show that you can practically talk on any topic in a poem. It's in the ABAB format. A Czarina by any other name. A cruel ruler, a despised harridan, untamed like Shakespeare's shrew. Her shrill voice shatters every eardrum as she yells at all within her purview. Her overreach in laws is endless. She wants to rule from sea to sea. Her draconian bills are tendentious to support her absolute monarchy. She plots to rid the cities of our mayors and our councillors who don't share her view, despite that they were chosen by voters. She'll fire them if that's what she's wont to do. Her every act brings us more troubles. Our hard-earned pensions she plots to take. With free pharmacare, she struggles, unfeeling for those she will forsake. Those protecting her land from fire are paid a most miserly sum. She cares little if their lives expire. She treats them as if they were scum. Cut their wages, her favorite mantra, whether doctors, nurses, or aides. And with classrooms filled to the rafters, we must give her a failing grade. So why do we stand for this tyrant? We must stop being so silent and speak out against all we abhor. Thank you. Oh, this is a little shout out to our protectors. Smoldering all winter long underground, then kindled bright by the spring's warm breath. Angry, vermilion, dancing demons pounce on helpless shrubs and trees, then homes. Packed into their bulky safety gear, Alberta's saviors surround the flames. Smoke inhaled, coughing, wheezing, their masks no match for the toxic fumes. Their best protection is not to be there, yet many return year after taxing year. Why, when working for Timmy's, they'd earn more without the ever-present fear of cancer's specter. Thank you.
My first poem is called Mosaic, because I believe that everybody is a mosaic of everybody that they've ever met. I am a mosaic of everyone I've ever met. So is my music taste. From Johnny Cash from my grandma to Hoser because of Spencer. I call everyone love because of my grandma. I love harder because of my partner's mom. I smile at everyone because of Kat. All the people I've ever met has shaped me into who I am. Crystal necklaces because of Juliet. Passion for anime again because of Ben. The people in my life have got me to enjoy things I stopped enjoying. I am a mosaic of everyone I've ever met, and so are you. This next one's in memory of one of my partners that committed suicide about 7 years ago. So it's called Liam Part 2. What if I never love again? After you passed, my heart was taken from with you. Can you feel it? My heart hurts since you left. I feel like a piece of me is gone. Like I've been stabbed with 1,000 daggers. Missing you never gets easier. I wish you could see who I've grown into. If I never love again, at least you know I loved you.
Hello. My first poem is At Botterill in May, and I wrote it the other day. At Botterill, the river's full of pelicans today. A porcupine here chose to dine on shrubbery on my way to reach the weir. Such sights so near make time just slip away. Why move along? A warbler's song won't let me get away. It draws my eye to way up high to where he sings this May. Such sunny hues can brighten blues, so anyone feels gay. I soon lose sight of him, but might just catch him on my way back from the shore. More life's in store along this path this May. New blooms arise before my eyes. It's honeysuckle day. I'll see them when returning then. I'll take some time to stay. Their pink and white will catch my sight for sure while on my way back home again. I hurry when the sky begins to gray. Each wind gust strong. I race along to reach my goal today. I journey for the old man's shore where pelican groups stay. A few steps more along the shore, the swallows fly and play from nests they share in clay banks where they haven't worn away. I think to go. The winds sure blow and skies turn black from gray. Yet I stay still, that is until it rains and rains away. I run along while winds blow strong and puddles start to lay along the clay that paves my way back home again today. I didn't reach that stony beach where pelican groups stay, but I caught sight of them. I might still make it anyway. If sun breaks through and skies turn blue, then I might get to stay. I'm not upset, although I'm wet. I've had a perfect day. I came here for one sight, but more here caught my eye today. I'll come again. Each pelican will stay another day. I'm glad I plan ahead, but can love change that comes my way. So every day's a perfect day at Botterill in May. And my other one is Laughing in the Lilacs, which I wrote January 14th, 2024. Max mostly spent each warm spring day outdoors beside a lilac tree. Though mostly she was locked away, it was her favorite place to be. At first, she pruned each lilac arm of blossoms that reached out to her, but soon she learned she shouldn't harm those blooms and left them strong and sure. I bet it was the songbirds who had come to visit Maxie there that taught old Maxie what to do with all those lilac seeds they'd share. One day I heard her laughing, so I quickly went outdoors to see her eating seeds that dangled low enough within that lilac tree. I opened up her cage door so that she could harvest even more fresh lilac seeds that weren't so low. I knew I couldn't leave that door ajar when I was not right there, but it became a daily thing, an open heart to joy we'd share when lilac seeds were fresh in spring.
This is called Poem Pot. Somewhere inside of me, just beyond my conscious reach, is a bubbling cauldron, a stew pot of words bumping up against each other, joining, splitting apart. On rather rare occasions, this bubbling brew bursts up, boils over, and a newborn poem is launched. Oh, there are poems aplenty in this pot, from epics aeons long to poems scarcely there. Poems of telling, showing, sharing. Poems of longing, yearning, loss. Poems of desire, delight, joy. Poems of grief and heartache. Poems of encouragement, admiration and respect. And poems too of anger, ranting, bitterness at things that humans do, and life's detached, insouciant unfairness. And there are poems of wonder, gratitude, and awe. And I hope that all of them, even the diatribes, the bits of nonsense, the utter fluff, are poems of love, of humble bowing before the immensity that is. And the second one, I think, belongs in the diatribes category. A couple of months ago in the same poetry group, we were introduced to the poetic form called waka, which is a Japanese poetry style precursor of haiku. And like haiku, its first 3 lines are 5-7-5 syllables. Waka has an extra 2 lines of 7 syllables each. So it's a 5-stanza poem, 5-7-5-7-7. This poem is a series of waka. It's called Insomnia Waka. Another night lost, unable to sleep again, staring at the dark. Why won't my body shut down, my warm bed so welcoming? Others share my plight. Sleeplessness is on the rise all across this world. I don't think it's personal. Mother Earth is crying out, do not fall asleep. My very life's at stake here. Humans cannot have any future life with me if governments don't wake up and stop what's lethal, what's poisoning, killing me. Species dying out, myself in turmoil, chaos as I'm sounding the alarm. You sleepless ones grieve. Mother Nature in mourning moves your hearts and souls. You spend your night in worry, feeling helpless and afraid, caring for all life, while deniers shut their eyes, refusing to see greed and callousness abound. Something drastic must be done, or humankind's doomed. All fellow mammals as well, smaller creatures too. I, the planet, will survive, my heart broken at the loss.
I have one poem here for you. It's called She Stands. She stands, tall and resolute, her face grimacing in displeasure, her anger piercing arrows around her. She stands, looking at the sky, whispers the unspoken thoughts that run through her mind. She stands, determined, unafraid, small yet mighty. I understand her. Thank you.
It's good to be back. These are some old songs, actually, that Lisa motivated me to read one. I was kind of toying whether to read it or not. I think it kind of follows what Lisa just read. It's called Anger. And sorry, Ryan, there is a little bit of swearing. Call me an angry, call me what you will. Where I come from, for this, I would probably kill and get away with it. Call me a jealous, give me whatever name. I love hard and then I hate hard without regret or shame, and without any reason for that matter. Call me a desperate loser. Insult me you will not. Loser with nothing to lose, since I spend all I've got. I gave it away for free. Once you're done name calling, try calling me to return. Before I forgive and forget, I'd rather bathe in petrol and burn. And that is a pretty irreversible state. And then the other three are a little bit more friendly. This one is called Dosage. One thing I mustn't do is have too much of you. My urge I have to fight and take you bite by bite. Focus and savor you for hours, despite the will to devour. I have to be restrictive. Your sweetness is addictive. No matter the prep technique, you remain allergenic. What does your succulent thickness hide? Your pricks are on the inside. Before I lose the aftertaste in my bowels, you'll already germinate. As I lay poisoned, my cause is lost, while you move on to another host.
It's nice to see you all tonight. I thought I'd do some of my favorites for tonight. A couple years old, but I like them. So this is called Bodhisattva, Between the Worlds. And most of you probably know that in Buddhism, there's the concept of the person who once to live and keep reincarnating in this world until everyone reaches enlightenment. And so they have taken a vow. A bodhisattva is one who has taken a vow to keep returning and reincarnating into this world until everyone is enlightened. Here I am. I arose from this. I belong here. Here, now, within and between the worlds of ordinary and non-ordinary reality. I am prism, allowing light to come in, to flow through, because just what is needed in this needful world. I live differently now, building on what came before organically, revisiting pattern, expanding with an aerial view. No more pushing rivers that flow anyway. I am flow. I am vibration. I live in the spaciousness of all of reality with the gift of light and color. I know radiance, and I bring it into darkness. To see all the mystery, to share flow and roses. Here I am. Here I am. And this one is a poem I like to read every springtime. It's called Faith or Weeds, whichever one you want to hear. I believe in weeds. I know, heresy, but really, look at them. No matter how much you cut them down, dig them up, or try to kill them, you still get weeds. You gotta love that tenacity, that resilience. I know I do. Take crabgrass, hated by homeowners everywhere. Well, I'll take it. It's the first up in spring, first up after a mowing, so bright green and luscious, screaming, "Here I am!" Or the chickweed growing in the cracks of my driveway, little green leaves like a natural carpet. Drive-in food. I pull into my driveway, lean over, and pick my salad greens for dinner. Even the price is right. It was a long winter this year. It was hard to believe that spring would ever return. But finally in May, Mother Earth resurrected, and right after the grass came up green, we had dandelions. I love dandelions. You can cut their leaves, you can eat their leaves and their flowers, and their roots can their roots can cure just about anything that ails you, even the pesticides poisoning that they use to get rid of the dandelions. They're the first bouquet given by little boys to grateful mothers. They're bright yellow smiling out from the green grass. When my boy was little, I showed him how to blow the seeds as we ambled down the sidewalk so that everyone could have such beautiful dandelions right in their front yards. Well, not really, but I sure wanted to. Mother Earth, carrier of life, death, life cycle, you did it again this year. May I learn from your ways and rise again and again and again when I'm cut down by this world. Our Lady of Resurrections, I have faith that you bring life even after the longest winter, because I've seen it. Our Lady of the Resurrections, I believe in weeds.
My first poem is Wild Thing. Written by a prompt, I think at one of Kat's poetry circles. I am the wild thing who feels more at home in the wild places than in what is called civilization. The wild places are ruled by the natural order, beauty, solitude, and peace. Everything has a reason for being where it is, and there is no man-made chaos. The simplicity is calming and grounding, and yet the beauty of it is breathtaking. I like being the wild thing, living in the tall grass, wild and natural, with no clothes to cover my body. Walking the prairies, the mountains, the woods, swim in the ocean, river, or lake, until I feel refreshed. I like feeling wild in wild places and feel the joy and bliss of it all. Well, looks like I'm going with my prompt poems tonight. The next one is, what beauty can you think of? And it was during Kat's Poetry Circle when we were reading Rainey Silito poems. By the way, she is an amazing, almost local poet. There is beauty everywhere. In the embrace, when you run into someone you have not seen in a long time. That embrace lasts longer because you have missed each other so much. There is beauty in the words we share in a supportive, loving writing circle. When we learn about each other's deep pain, sorrow, grief, joy, happiness, and dreams. There is beauty in the snowfall, the soft rain, the howling wind, and the rise and fall of the waves on the water. There is beauty in the Alberta sunrise and the deep hues of the sunsets. There is beauty everywhere.
Okay, I cannot remember, and I have no idea which ones I've read before. So if you've heard this one before, sorry. Yeah, I don't remember. Go for it. This kind of, I thought of this one, which is called Imposter Syndrome, because I was trying to relabel myself as an artist and as a crone, and I wanted to make sure it was valid, I guess. When the threat comes, I invite my amygdala to activate, and then I fight. The battle is real within myself, but I no longer believe the enemy is myself, nor is it anyone else. There is me, and there is everything. They are their own internal problems that crash into mine with every interaction, every whiff of breath that brushes past my sensitive skin. Like, how dare you? And how dare I let it distract me? I should know better. But I still set it free so I can finally unmask. I'm trying to break from that long-time ruler of my actions called societal norms, and I take offense and I can easily move on. I'm not quirky. I'm not absent-minded. I'm disabled. And I'll show it because I'm not ashamed. So don't mock me. Don't humiliate me. And even if you do, my best ability is the power of dismissal. I dismiss you. My enlightened self is shattered and reinvented and blasphemous and insecure and slightly blinded and waiting desperately for somebody to understand me, but vengeful and indifferent. And I keep trying, and I give up, and I isolate, and I quarantine, and I suffer in silence. Or I blast that unruly trumpet from the rooftops, because here I am. Here I am. Thank you. A couple years ago, there was a comet called Neowise that was passing over Earth, and I really wanted to see it. And I got stood up because I'd asked somebody to join me, and I went anyways. They told me to get out of the city, out from under the blinding lights so I could see Neowise. But they didn't account for the clouds, the bulging, blinding clouds. I thought you would come with me, that we would drive out together hunting comets, find an obscure gravel road, catch a whiff of skunk, murder moths in the headlights. But I am alone in some ditch, peering into darkness, knowing I'll never have you, 'cause I'm invisible compared to her. And Neowise is incredibly far away, billions of kilometers. And even if your light could reach Earth, it can't get through the clouds or the city lights. And it definitely can't see me, parked on a gravel road in some ditch. Thanks.
This poem is called Nichimus. It means my sweetheart in Cree, and I'm going to read it because my hubby came tonight. Thank you. Let's chill like mountain streams. We can go with the flow. We will meander and swell. Let's hot sun kiss. Heat rises to mountain peaks and melts the snow. Let's dance like sunbeams, barefoot on the grass. We will sway and swirl. Let's soar like wind, carefree in the sky. We will go for a whirl. Let's bloom like flowers. We will slow down time. We will let ourselves unfurl. Let's sprawl like a beach, sink into the earth. We will let our toes curl. I'm also a hoop dancer. Most people know me that way, but this is called I Danced. Unfurled body and limbs, undulating circular rhythms. Watch myself bloom, feels like the first time. I see and I am reminded of my own beauty with new eyes. I witness myself honestly, my inner growth and beauty, expressive movement beyond the limits of words. I wonder if I am the one performing the dance, or am I just the vessel to capture the movement of creation?
So my first poem I'm going to read is, I called it Yin and Yang. I wrote this on April 25th. Life is full of joy and sorrow. Life is looking towards tomorrow. Life is reviewing things from our past. Life is always full of contrast. Beauty is seen in so many ways. Beauty is something that's hard to convey. Beauty is searching the darkness for light. Beauty is knowing your own inner might. Grief is a feeling exposed by loss. Grief is a feeling others will toss. Grief is a feeling many hide, push, and shove. Grief is a feeling, a pure expression of love. Love is a joy you bring into your home. Love is your happiness internally known. Love is a feeling you can never forget. Love is a feeling that can lead to regret. Love is intense, feeling deep affection. Grief is the tears and screams of expression. Beauty can be seen in both love and grief. Life shows truth, even with disbelief. Thank you. This next poem, I've called it Negative Emotions. I wrote this on February 22nd. I've listened to music for most of my life. I've felt the emotional struggle and strife. I've not understood until meeting my wife why I had such an emotional blight. Some songs gave me an emotional fight. Some feelings erupted and began to ignite. Some pain deep within, hidden from sight. But my story's different. It doesn't relate. Their stories of hunger, too much food on my plate. Their stories of welfare, I just couldn't equate. Their stories so tragic, there's just no debate. My life must be easy, intellect would say. Emotions are different and can change any day. Emotions will hide, locked, buried away. Emotions must be brought out to display. or they'll boil and bubble and explode in your face. They rot you inside when kept hidden in place. They kill from within while taking up space. They make many thoughts. The mind is a race. It's hell being stuck in emotional grief. The thought of escape is in disbelief. The thought of suicide is not a relief. The good thoughts stolen by an inner thief, leaving none, with no way out of this hell. It's like being trapped down a very deep well. It screams of anger just to get out a yell. It's calling for help and no one can tell, like living alone with family around. Crying alone so you don't make a sound. Crying away so you'll never be found. Crying up tears while hoping you'll drown. Creating relief until it starts again. The feeling of stuck, being locked to the pain. The feeling of loss is an emotional strain. The feeling of grief is an emotional stain. It's seen by others when they lift the rug. They can see so much with just a light tug. They can see the baggage you carry and lug. They can see the path all that weight is dug. The pain cannot hide. You must fix up your home by expressing yourself and not feeling alone, by talking to others so emotions can roam, by reading the pages from your inner tome. This is the start to take back your joy. It's like reaching again for a childhood toy. It's like getting an army for you to deploy. It's like ordering them to fight and destroy. The way to take back what gave you delight. You must not give up. Please continue to fight. You must not give in. Please turn on your light. You must struggle to see in your heart what is right, as no one can go through your personal strife. I've listened to music for most of my life. I've listened to pain before meeting my wife. I've struggled along without her here. She died so very close to the end of the year. Thank you.
On your string, I feel as though I'm close to you, loved, trusted, prepared, safe within your embrace. At times you make me fly, unbound from the bonds of gravity, feeling free, spinning now on the path to excitement, like a wheel of a cart on a roller coaster. A thin tether, a safety cord, I can't be lost or fall too far. It returns me to that feeling of being safe within your embrace. Now I feel impetuously tossed, rejected, flung away into an unknown void. Why? I'm spiraling now at dangerous speeds, like a wheel held between a cart and a rail on a roller coaster's rail, facilitating the force of friction, yet not in your embrace. Fearing a loss of control, scared to crash, knowing I must be unwanted, unneeded. Stopped suddenly, distance no longer being thrust upon me, yet spinning still. Without warning, your desire calls me back. Jerked, lured, beckoned. It is beyond my control, but I welcome it eagerly. This force that brings me back towards my greatest aspiration, to be safe within your embrace. I'm compelled, drawn, soon to be delivered. I'll be held by you again, made to feel as though I could almost be complete once more. Yet I also know, however I may long, no longer shall I ever be safe within your embrace. It's about a yo-yo. Yeah. All right. For this next one, I did not have the opportunity to, I hired a flautist or a bongo player. Please forgive me. Disinformation. It is quite the drug. Give them the feeling of superior knowledge. Secrets you think you earned and discerned. More powerful than that which is taught in college. Combine it with social acceptance, and then partner with the disdain of those who are perceived to have the superior brain. Their facts and figures, so meticulous to gain, researched, checked, and rechecked again and again, mean nothing, are rejected, and shall know it be ingrained. They won't mass protect others. They won't seek science, satisfied by the secret counsel of their sisters and brothers. They feel safe and persecuted and validated in their little closed loop. They feel included and loved and have each other to hug. They don't have to feel lonely and exposed and elicit dissent and become one of those. They do research too, but won't snope or troubleshoot. If it could make them question, it's not worthy of mention. They told me, don't believe everything you read in those books. I phrased that the wrong way. So they told me, don't believe everything in those books you read, but then they repost the most unintelligent drivel from their feed. Debunked and unverified, still shared their desired lies. Quite the drug indeed.
All right, so this is a poem about the first recorded poet in the historical records that we know. She was a woman from ancient Mesopotamia called Enheduanna, the daughter of Sargon of Akkad. I don't think any of this stuff actually happened to her, but here we go. One shining day, and Hedwana came to a glass display. She looked very close for the entire day and eventually chose to walk away. The glass display got old and decayed. One sparkling night, and Hedwana watched a karate fight. The combatants displayed exemplary might, but Enheduanna turned to the right and left. One exceptional afternoon, Enheduanna got hold of a spoon. She held it up to the midday moon and said, "I don't care one bit about you." And then she put it in the dishwasher. One glorious morning, Enheduanna saw that rain was pouring. She said to the rain, "By Nana, are you boring?" and walked to a court with 11 stories. In the court, she said, "Glory, oh glory on glories, how these marble archways make short work of my worries, how I breathe the cool peace of this conservatory." So, Enheduanna's feet fell asleep on the floor, on the final blue evening of the summer of yore. She said to a tree in the foyer of the court a first little bit of Acadian lore. "My shining tree of many green leaves, by the moonlight above and the gentle blue breeze, I'll write you a creed, a tender song for thee as a sign of my love, called Long Live the Tree." It goes, "How to be so like me is to be like a tree, for to be is to be so tumultuously, like a bee on a tree with a queen who will feed on a bee just like me if there's ever a need. Heed, heathen, heed my venerable creed. I may be a tree with a thirst to be free, but a seed like one of these is at first one of me." Thank you.
This first one is called Hole in the Floor. The alternative title was Fix Your... There once was a boy in a house with a hole he'd never denounce. A friend came to see and asked curiously, "What's this hole that you let hang around?" "How dare you," he yelled with a frown. "Your hole is the much bigger in town." A fight then ensued, they both misconstrued and tore one another's floor down. Their houses still stood, though quite thin, no room for a soul to fit in. They left their attacks on each other's front tracks and grumbled of holes in their kin. The girl found a friend one day who didn't cause floors to decay, but still she would roam with a hole in her home, for she never learned how to allay. The boy by his hole sat and stewed with thoughts of a world so askew, where sledgehammers swing and repairs not a thing he feared one more board would undo. One day they met by pure chance, and each took a critical glance. "You've still got that hole," each remarked from their soul, "'cause you never came back to enhance." Then wisdom dawned clear in their minds, that waiting for help one just pined. They turned and they wrought to repair what they ought, each mending their floors one plank at a time. Nail by nail, plank by plank, they'd restore, till no holes were left in their floor. With lessons in hand, they could now understand that their homes could be whole evermore. This one's called An Honest Rebel. He quiets the queen without causing offense, knows why faith creates both peace and defense. Sturdy in character, wise in his words, pondering in the forest amidst the song of the birds. His young raised on Thoreau, Camus, and Voltaire. The spring tulips bloom, his bones cold as winter air. The queen now decrees his narrative heresy. That's the point, he yells, at cattle and hierarchy. Pauper shoes, afternoon walks, old books, and AM radio, searching for meaning in this rodeo. His character breathes, his plot smothered, wondering what exactly his choices have mothered. The world needs an honest rebel, a story to hold, a beautiful truth to tell. But the world shifted and his truth fell apart, fell his voice on deaf ears, on the floor his heart. That's it.
I'm going to read you a couple that I've probably read already, but it's been a bit of a month, so I didn't have time for new ones. I do not have a title for this one. You laid your empty hands on my chest, sweetly singing to me to let you in, to lay bare all my armor so you could see beneath my sin. Understanding flashing in your eyes, truth echoing in their depth, soft as a whisper on my skin. Your fingers slipped under, probing through the layers I'd wrapped round and round, deeper, deeper, gently encircling my most precious organ. I could not say when I became an extension of you, connected by the scarlet thread, connected by the whispering touch with hands on hearts, squeezing softly in rhythm with every breath we took, around and around, wrapping me up in you. When did the iron nails slide from your fingertips, piercing, severing the ties from deep within, your soul leaving my skin as you turn to walk away with hands no longer empty, but now my chest is. Okay, and this one is called When Breaks the Dawn. When breaks the dawn, someone come take me home, for though the night is lovely, I have lost my way and cannot find it on my own in the dark. In the dark, so still and heavy, so calm and peaceful, yet the darkness obscures my way and I don't know which way to turn. I don't know which way to turn, so I turn round and round, this way, then that, none of the paths leading me anywhere, and I am weary from being lost. I am weary from being lost, and I wish the sun would break at last, take my hand with its gentle rays, and finally show me the way. Show me the way, I beg. But the darkness doesn't speak. I sigh. Silence has become my constant support. My steps chant out the repeating frame. When breaks the dawn? When breaks the dawn?
I've got 3 picked out. This is my first in-person open mic, so you'll have to excuse my delivery. This first one is called Power Off. Chasing moments instead of lives, so easy to do everything for those moments of freedom. World spinning, stomach nodding, lips spewing, toothpick bridges lined with freedom to the clouds, far away, satisfied and underground, making mud above the eyes, still satisfied, slipping away into more of the same, without the mistakes, till you see the ceiling from the quicksand, panicked and cold, digging recklessly to get back and feel freedom, before the brain takes back control, inevitably, to squeeze the throat, stop the heart, freeze the mud, show the terror, show the weakness, show the broken bridges, show the inability, till you can find another glass, another paper, another cold body to shut it off again. This next one is called Anthill and the Lion's Den. A little boy enjoys a bag of jerky as he plays in the yard. He sets it down for a moment, distracted by an anthill. He observes the many busy bodies moving around, keeping his attention away from the one crawling into the bag. His mother calls from the door. It's time to go to the zoo. In a rush, he grabs the bag and shoves it in his pocket and races to the car. The drive isn't long, but it feels like forever. He's so eager to see the lions. The second they arrive, he begins pestering his mom. He must see the lions. Finally, they make it to the huge enclosure, but he finds it to be anticlimactic. They're all just laying around. He needs some way to see some action. Remembering the jerky in his pocket, he takes a glance at his mom. She's distracted by the elephants across the walkway. So he takes the bag of meat and hurls it into the lion's den.
This one, I'm only going to read one. It's a little longer than I normally read. It's really formal and structured, and there's a lot of repetition, and it's essentially about the wandering Jew, who is somebody I find of real trouble believing the myth, because just simply, if you think about it, compound interest would have meant that by now he would have owned the entire world. You just have to live long enough. Okay. The human heart, frivolous, beastly, and corrupt. An old man's prejudices, tired, thin, and sour. There are times life and living brings you to an abrupt stop. This is the time of the beast, the final hour. An old man's prejudices, tired, thin, and sour. Welcoming the end times. The sure and final stop. This is the time of the beast, the final hour, the ultimate disappointment, weak and venial, welcoming the end times, the sure and final admission of defeat. It will be a disappointment, the ultimate disappointment, weak and venial. You'd think an apocalypse would be a significant admission of defeat. It'll be a disappointment. Everybody just packs it in and goes home early. You'd think an apocalypse would be a significant event, a right proper blowout. All noise and hurly-burly. Everybody just packs it in and goes home early. They pencil in the next occasion, RSVP the next event. A right proper blowout, all noise and hurly-burly with a mime, a steel band, and a bouncy castle. On any pretext, they pencil in the next occasion, RSVP the next invitation, book the caterers, spend time finding an agent with a mime, a steel band, and a bouncy castle. On any pretext, it must be amusing. Days are spent soliciting an urgent invitation, book the caterer, spend time finding an agent, send out invitations in your turn. It must be fresh and new. It must be amusing. Days are spent soliciting an urgent call, the marquee tent, the dancers and the drugs. So much to do. Send out the invitations in your turn. It must be fresh and new. Hire a social secretary. So many people you just must call. The marquee tent, the dancers and the drugs. So much to do. There are some primal urges underlying this: fear, hunger, lust. Hire a social secretary. So many people who you just must keep adding to your list. So many people it will not do to offend. There are some primal urges underlying this: fear, hunger, lust. When the times are out of joint, there is so much that you must mend. Keep adding to your list. So many people it will not do to offend. They are your friends with an inherent playfulness in their cruelty. When times are out of joint, there is so much that you must mend. Grooming is essential. The house cats of the apocalypse fighting ennui. They are your friends. With inherent playfulness in their cruelty, in all this, there's nothing new. 10,000 years and not one new deadly sin. Grooming is essential. The house cats of the apocalypse fighting ennui. The old man has seen it all before. It has all come around again. In all this, there is nothing new. 10,000 years and not one new deadly sin. And if the times be out of joint, then let the world be dismembered. The old man has seen it all before. It has all come around again. They will die, and they will be lost, and they will not be remembered. And if time be out of joint, then let the world be dismembered. In the end, it does not matter. It is irrelevant, although it bothers them. They will die, and they will be lost, and they will not be remembered. Alive, their names and days may shine like a rare and precious gem. In the end, it does not matter. It is irrelevant, although it bothers them. The old man does not care. He has seen many a circus, walked many a bazaar. Alive, their names and days may shine like a rare and polished gem. He has seen others like them, burned out, the ashes of a falling star. The old man does not care. He has seen many a circus, walked many a bazaar. He has long since ceased to judge. It is all one to him. He keeps a whetstone and a blade. He's seen others like them burnt out, the cinders of a falling star. There's a sheen on the edge of the scythe. He walks in sunlight and in shade. He has long since ceased to judge. It's all one to him. He keeps a whetstone and a blade. The gaiety is gone. There's an edge to the laughter and the brittle smiles. There's a sheen on the edge of the scythe. He walks in sunlight and in shade. It is all one to him. He does not judge. There will be no trials. The gaiety is gone. There's an edge to the laughter and the brittle smiles. Small, mean endings. They would critique it harshly, find it dull. It is all one to him. He does not judge. There will be no trials, no reviews in next day's paper. Life still exerts its pull, small, mean endings. They would critique it harshly, find it dull, though some of them would appreciate the irony. There will be no reviews in next day's papers. Life still exerts its pull. It is just a small universe in a chaos of such. The old man can see, though some of them would appreciate the irony. Most of them could not accept that this is all come around before. It's just a small universe in a chaos of such. The old man can see, if he cared to look, but he was long ago numbed. He does not keep score. Most of them could not accept that this has all come around before. There was a time the old man looked and judged, noticed details, if he cared to look, but he was long ago numbed. He does not keep score. In the end, there is no final reckoning. Every judgment fails. There was a time the old man looked and judged, noticed details, noted the sparrow and the stooping hawk, noted the starving and the fat. In the end, there is no final reckoning. Even judgment fails. The old man expressionless, the old man's eyes hard and flat, noted the sparrow and the stooping hawk, noted the starving and the fat. Now he stands on the edge of the dance floor. The dancers whirling by, the old man expressionless, the old man's eyes hard and flat. Everybody, everything has its time and place. Everything will live and die. Now he stands on the edge of the dance floor, the dancers whirling by. He stands on the verge of the highway looking down into the ditch. Everybody, everything has its time and place. Everything will live and die. He stands outside the firelight while the bodies flare and burn like pitch. He stands on the verge of the highway looking down into the ditch. He casts no shadow across the crime scene. He will not be called to testify. He stands outside the firelight while the bodies flare and burn like pitch. The old man will not curse. He is long past that. He can no longer cry. Cast no shadows across the crime scene. He will not be called to testify. The dead girl in the ditch. The broken doll by the outstretched bloody hand. The old man will not curse. He is long past that. He can no longer cry. He sees the crimes of passion. He sees the massacre being planned. The dead girl in the ditch, the broken doll by the outstretched bloody hand, the broken bodies hanging from the bridge, the shallow graves. The killers will walk away laughing if they speak the proper names. Silver whips and silver manacles. Little toys for their sophisticated games. The killers will walk away laughing if they speak the proper names. Bully boys give way to secret police, armies on the frontier. Silver whips, silver manacles, little toys for their sophisticated games. Killers will walk away laughing if they speak the proper names. Silver whips, silver manacles, little toys for their sophisticated games are put aside for uniforms and flags and marching legions bringing fear. Bully boys give way to secret police at the door, armies on the frontier. The old man watches as the tailor's windows change and the pinstriped suits are put aside for uniforms and flags and marching legions bringing fear. Money does not sleep. And those who have the money have the brutes. The old man watches as the tailor's windows change and the pinstripe suits. The faces on the banknotes change, but the eternal currency remains. Money does not change. And those who have the money have the brutes. They have the laws. They have the priests. They have the guns. Again, the faces on the banknotes change, but the internal currency remains. Again and again, we spin through the old dances of domination, pain, and fear. They have the laws, they have the priests, they have the guns again. None of this has changed, nor will it change for 10,000 years. Again and again, we spin through the old cycles of domination, pain, and fear. The old man does not have to speak. The lesson is all too clear. None of this has changed, nor will it change for 10 times 10,000 years. Understanding we are stuck with what brought us here. The old man does not have to speak. The lesson is all too clear. There are times life and living brings you to an abrupt understanding. We are stuck with what brought us here. The human heart, frivolous, beastly, and corrupt. Thank you, and I apologize for